All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to URX Talent Development Program today with Epsilon. We're going to go ahead and get started in a couple of minutes. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to head over to the sessions chat or to the sessions tab on the left. So we'll wait a few minutes. All right. If you're excited about Epsilon today, go ahead and put hashtag Epsilon in the chat so that we know. And then also what school you're representing. What school you're representing today. We want to hear where you all are from. All right. Hey, Allison. Allison, are you able to share your camera? There should be a button on your screen for you to share your audio. Perfect. Hey, Allison.
Hello, how are you doing
Hi.
today?
I'm doing good, thank you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So hi everybody, my name is Jennifer Madamba. I'm from URX. We put on this talent development program this summer to give our students an opportunity to learn new professional development skills from different companies. And today we are lucky to have Epsilon with us, who's gonna talk about introduction to product marketing. And from Epsilon, we do have Allison Milone. So I'll go ahead and pass the floor over to Allison. If you do have any questions, make sure to put it in the chat and then she'll address them towards the end. And then we'll leave the session with some closing remarks from URX. So Allison, floor is all yours.
Great, well, thanks for having me today. I'm really looking forward to talking with you all and sharing a little bit more about product marketing. So my first question is, can everybody see my screen? Are you able to see what I'm sharing here? Not yet.
No, not yet. Do you have two screens up by any chance?
I do.
Oh, okay, so maybe it might be on another's.
Okay, well, challenge number one for me to accomplish. Let's see what it can do. All right, are you able to see now?
No, not yet. Sorry,
Okay.
we had some difficulties. I know it's a little tricky. Let's see here.
How about now?
Let's see if you're able to.
Clicking sharing screen in this is my screen. Can you tell me what you are seeing?
We just see you.
Just see me. Okay. All right. Well, that's not the exciting part of what I wanted to share with you all today. Okay, so I am clicking share my screen. I'm clicking on the screen. Any other thoughts for tips that I should have?
let's see here. I think that's pretty much want to, if you have it on file and you can send it to me, I can see if I can pull it up.
Yep, let's do that. All right, great way to start off our Friday.
Yeah. It's probably because it's Friday.
It must be. Yeah, what time zones are everybody in?
I'm in Pacific, so we're in California. How about you?
Right.
Where are you?
I am in Mountain.
Oh, okay.
So I'm based out of Denver.
Oh, nice. I've been to Denver once, so it's pretty awesome. We have Canada. We have the East Coast all over here, Detroit, Michigan. Awesome.
All right, so I emailed you that. Would you mind seeing if you could pull that up and share your screen there?
Of course. And then you can just introduce yourself and talk about Epsilon
Okay.
while we get running.
Great. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining today. Apologies for some of our technical difficulties, but I'm excited to talk to you all. I'm excited to give you an introduction to product marketing, talk about some of the skills you can have, especially knowing that many of you are students. I wanted to share some tips and tricks as well as some resources that you can have. So looking forward to talking with you all today. I want to make sure that when we talk about product marketing, I first give an overview of what it is, what are some of the roles and responsibilities, skills needed, and then, of course, resources. And a little bit about me. So you know that I work for Epsilon and that I'm based out of Denver. We have some offices all around the US and actually all around the world. So a few of them are Chicago, Texas, New York. Those are the ones that I work with very closely, but we're in all sorts of time zones that we're working in. And a little bit of my background is I worked in both the enterprise space as well as the startup space. I'm always interested in growth. I think product marketing has been a very nice fit for me there. And so I've been able to find that at very large companies. I've done innovation projects at Walmart. Then I've done smaller scale growth, building out a product marketing team at startups. And then now I am at Epsilon and I focus on product marketing. Two things about me. I wanted to also share some personal things. I'm a big fan of traveling. I've been to over 60 countries. So I'm a big fan of hopefully someday once coronavirus is over, being able to travel some more. And then I'm also a very large fan of podcasts. So if you have podcast recommendations, please let me know. I'm always interested in learning more about podcasts. So I'll pause right there. Are you able to pull up that presentation I sent you?
I haven't seen the email come up on my end yet. Keep refreshing my screen.
Okay. I sent that a couple of minutes ago, so why don't I try just sending it again?
Okay. Awesome.
All right, while we're waiting, if anybody has podcast recommendations, let me know.
I was listening to a lot of Dave Ramsey over earlier this year. Well, that was really when I was like traveling to work, on my way home from work. But yeah, I'm open to any other podcasts that anybody would recommend too.
Yeah, I'd say I like to have a mix. I like to have a mix of sort of the news as well as ones that are more business related, but then also I love my mysteries that come out.
I've heard there are a lot of great mystery ones.
Yes, I feel like anything Wondery, anything NPR, they have a lot of great ones. Okay, so I have resent that to you. Hopefully that one will come up. And then we can get started a little bit more. The daily, yes. Doug, I listened to the daily this morning. That's a great one to start out your day. I know with all of our schedules being switched a little bit, sometimes it's hard to listen to podcasts when you don't necessarily have the commute to help out, but I'm trying to keep myself fresh and educated when I can and have some free time. So let me know if that comes through. I can go ahead and get started and talk a little bit. I wanted to make sure I gave an introduction to Epsilon as well. Epsilon is a company that we really focus on outcome-based marketing. So we're here to show you that we're built on proof and not just promises. And what we have is what we call People Cloud, which is a collection of different products that are there to help personalize customer journeys and really focus on performance transparency. So we don't just want to help you with ideas. We don't just want to help you with execution. We want to make sure that we come all the way around and make sure that we're showing measurable and impactful insights and business outcomes. So we focus a lot on stable identity management. We represent over 200 million people, and we're able to have a lot of data, technology, and then ways to activate as well. So we've been around for more than 50 years, but one thing I wanted to note as well is that we were last year acquired by Publicis Group, which you may have heard of them. So now we are a part of Publicis, and we are excited to move with them. All right, so I'll check in again. Did you get my presentation? Okay, great.
Let me see if I can go ahead and pull that up. Let's see, I'll open it with Google Slides. Okay, let me see what I can do. Okay, can you see my screen? Yes, okay, so I'll make sure the Google Slides, let me know if I need to. I think it's loading right now.
All right, so since we're talking about product marketing today, I wanted to share a couple of our products. So Epsilon, I've mentioned a couple of things here, but we have 6 different products as well as a whole data business to really be able to build out all of that outcome-based marketing. Specifically, I work on our loyalty product. So what I do is I work on product marketing on the B2B side. So we are selling to different businesses and we help them be the back end, either technology and or strategy of their product. We say that we are software with services. So we provide both sides of not only the strategic thinking and design and helping clients think through what's the best way to connect with their customers, but then also the technology to be able to power that, which involves a lot of machine learning, predictive analytics, and capabilities to be able to deliver personalization. We call it one-to-you personalization, where we don't just want one-to-many. We don't just want to think about specific tiers. We want to think about what is the right moment to connect with customers. So that ties to things like you're on many different devices. Being able to pull in all of your information, not just transactionally, but your behavioral information as well. And then from there, we also think about different ways to connect then on the channels. What's the right offer for you? What's the right reward for you? What's the right time of day and the right type of message to deliver to you? So that's what I do. I work on product marketing for the loyalty product, but if we're able to show the slides, there are a handful of other ones, and we've been able to win some accolades in this space as well. So we'll do a quick check. Can we maybe see if the presentation is working?
The presentation is still loading up slides, but I can just move down to the other one.
Okay.
Sorry.
If we could put it in presenter mode, that would be helpful too, because there are a few things that are builds. But if that's not possible, we can go with what we got.
It doesn't look like it is possible, unfortunately, but I'm still waiting for the slides to pull up.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do a quick podcast check-in because I see a couple of other comments here. Freakonomics, yes, very good podcast. It's so fascinating to me, the different types of things they find to compare to each other and how you never would have seen this as a key learning and a key thread across different products. You, me, and your top 3. I have actually never heard of that one, so I'm going to have to investigate that one more. I'm a big fan of This American Life. I'm also a very big fan of Reply All. That's probably one of my favorite ones. It's a great one that has 2 technology reporters, and they are talking about different challenges that you tend to face in this modern world with technology. All right, so could we scroll down a couple of slides? Yeah, so you're getting sort of this view here of what Epsilon is, what our products are. I apologize for some of the formatting that you'll see. I can send these slides afterwards. So you'll be able to see what I was planning to share, but you'll get the cliff notes here. So we can keep scrolling down. So here are the different products that we have here. And then, sure, we can go to the next slide. One thing that I wanted to call out is I know that many of you are students, so just two things that Epsilon has here. We have an intern program over the summer. It's an 11-week undergraduate internship opportunity, and that is intended to be an opportunity to convert to full-time. So we have, I'm sure our interns are wrapping up now, but the goal out of it is to get real-world experience, learn about Epsilon, and then also have opportunities for conversion. We also have a really great new grad program. I have enjoyed meeting people from our new grad program, and I think it's a great way to get a taste of what Epsilon is, but also get opportunities for training, mentoring, networking, and then just getting a taste of different areas of the business. So those are two opportunities that are available there. So we can go ahead and skip on to the next slide. All right, so the first thing I wanted to stop, pause, and ask you all, we're here to learn about product marketing. This is a product marketing 101. So if you could add in the chat, how much do you know about product marketing? Is it something you're familiar with? Is it something that you have no clue about? Is it something, you know, I'd love to hear from you all what you know about it. Maybe on a scale of 1 to 5, what you feel like your knowledge is, if you're already studying it, and what you're interested in learning today about. So I'll give you some time. Would love to hear from you all what you're interested in learning. And in the meantime, we can go ahead and skip to the next slide. So if I had to very simply put what is product marketing, there's a lot of different interpretations out there of what it is. And then at the same time, every company you join will have a different approach to it. So it's the driving force of bringing products to market. So product marketing. This requires a couple of different elements. So part of it is just having that strong understanding of what the product is and who the customer is, and making that connection there. You want to be able to create a strong strategic positioning and messaging. And then it's also important, product marketing is here to help drive revenue, demand, and sales of that product. So this is why this role is important. This is why it's something that is key in a business. All right, so if we think about the conversion funnel here, are we able to see the funnel on the next one? All right, so this is going to be a mystery that you can think through here. You can go back up to that slide. There is a funnel. There'll be a surprise for you to open when you get this presentation. But if we think about the conversion funnel, maybe some of you have heard about AIDA. So this model of starting out with this high level awareness, then going down into that you want to create for customers. So awareness of what your product is, and just this high level ability to understand what it is. Then the next level is interest. All right, now I know about it. Now I'm interested in it. Then going down into desire. Okay, now that I've learned more, I want it. And then the last piece there is action. So you want to drive awareness all the way down to buying that product. This is something that can happen across physical products, digital products. It can happen across this B2C environment, B2B environment. But one thing I wanted to note here is that a lot of times product marketing focuses on what we call bottom of the funnel, or BOFU. So product marketing is here to drive that sale. It requires this product expertise and an additional depth and layer of knowledge to be able to make that final connection and drive that sale. I think on the screen we lost the presentation.
Oh, you lost it? Okay, let me see if I can go ahead and, okay. Sorry, I tried to put it on there. Can you see it better now?
Yes, we can see it now. Yeah, great.
Okay.
All right, so if we're thinking beyond the funnel, then onto this slide. This I'd say is a very classical framework of about product marketing or just bringing a product to market in general. You may or may not be familiar with pragmatic marketing. If you are not, I'd say this is a great resource to look at. This is a framework that they've developed. It's something that they have on their website. I'd recommend going there as well because you can hover over the different boxes and it will give it a brief description of what it is. But there's also classes you can take here. So this I have listed in the resources is what I would recommend you go and look at. But each of these boxes here, these talk about bringing a product to market. And it starts from, if we're talking about inception all the way through to getting that sale, it starts out from strategy. And then this reads from left to right, from strategy to execution. And then the top area tends to be things that you're working on in terms of the specific market. And then the bottom area is more about products. So this is something that I'd say it's not limited to product marketing. I think it depends on every role and every company. And then, of course, every product and customer that impacts how you address this. But I'd say this is the pretty robust approach here. This goes from the very beginning and thought and creation to creating a business plan and a business case, and then all the way through to the types of execution and support that you need. This is something that if you're interested in product marketing, I would highly recommend you spend some time looking through these because it starts from looking first at the market. So what's that product market fit? What are the different opportunities there? And then that ties into then what your focus areas are. So how you truly build out what that roadmap looks like to get there. And then of course, tying in your business to this, what's the business plan, pricing, those kinds of components. Then moving into planning, which I'd say planning is tied a little bit more into planning of creating the product as well as bringing it to market. And then you start to build out what are the programs, where does marketing tie into that? What are the different types of ways you want to talk to different customers about this? Then moving into the enablement side. So really enabling your sales channels to have the full knowledge and capabilities to sell this. And of course, the last one is the support area. So additional areas or additional ways that this is rolled out to be able to make sure you ensure success. All right, so if we could hop to the next slide here. I would say this is almost a simplified version of the previous slide here. So you hear a lot that you have a product. If you're bringing a new product to market, you're focusing on a product launch. So this is taking some of those key components from the previous slide that pragmatic marketing has put together and looking at how you would address something before a launch and after a launch. What I'll say is the most classical vision of what product marketing is and product marketing does is you get this new product, you're bringing it to life, you want to support it, and of course you have to follow up afterwards. But there are different iterations. This is focusing on that classical one. There might be something where you're working on a new product offering or a new product iteration, product updates. So this is for new products. There's definitely ways to approach more mature products as well. So this focuses on, I'd say, you definitely want to start out with what's the right product market fit. If you have an existing product, does it fit well within the market? Or if you're trying to think through moving into this space, what would be the right fit? That ties into then developing what's your go-to-market strategy. So marching towards going live, what are the key components that you need? And tied to that are things like positioning, messaging, what your activation plan is. So all the way through the key areas of the funnel, you're working with many different teams to be able to build that out. Very, very important is the customer needs to be at the center. So as you're thinking about rolling out to customers, who are the key personas you're going after? So the types of people that you are able to connect with, what are their personas? What are the types of personalities that you're trying to go after? And then very importantly, sales training. And the key piece here is after a launch, you're not done. There's so many things that you can do after the product is launched. Some of these go back and forth. So some of these might be before a launch. Some of these might be after a launch. But what you're able to do here is you want to make sure you have the right sales enablement. So the sales team is fully equipped, whether that's materials they have, training they need, or the right talk track or other components there. Of course, you want demand generation and adoption of the product. And then overall success is something that you're tied to. So you want to make sure that you are able to really focus on that bottom of the funnel and deliver those sales. Very importantly as well is you're never done. I'd say there's always an opportunity to improve. So see this not necessarily as a checklist and then you're done, but something is cyclical that happens over time. So you'll definitely be iterating. All right, so one thing that I wanted to call out here is key responsibilities you might face. We have in the chat, if you double click the presentation, you'll be able to see the larger view of it. So I definitely recommend for this slide, and of course you'll be getting this presentation afterwards. But this is something that the Product Marketing Alliance has put together. So I recommend this as a resource as well. The Product Marketing Alliance here is a group of product marketers. It's a fairly new organization. It started up last year. They have many different events. They have a podcast. They have a lot of resources on their website. They also have a Slack community. So if you're not a part of that Slack community, I would highly recommend joining that as well. And what they have done for the past 2 years is they have put together the state of product marketing. So they interview product marketers from a variety of different organizations to try to get this full breadth of perspective. And I have a couple of stats here throughout this presentation that I wanted to share with you all to go into what are key things that product marketers are saying that they're doing. So this first slide here is key responsibilities. We're trying to look at what are the key things or the things that product marketers are most often doing. It's these top 3 areas that really focus on what's the right product positioning, what's the right messaging around it, and of course, product launches. Some key other areas here are what we'd mentioned before, focusing on what's the right sales collateral, of course, doing research on your customers in the right market. And something that was added this year that wasn't in previous years was storytelling. So there is a lot of this. This ties closely to positioning and messaging, but storytelling is a very key component here. All right, and I see that we have some people who have already read this report and joined the Product Marketing Alliance. Definitely agree. It's a great report. I'll be showing you just some snippets from it, but there's definitely things that you can go in and dig a little bit deeper that can help you either understand what other product marketers, if you're already into product marketing, are doing, or if you're still in this learning about product marketing piece, what you can expect. So we're going to hop to the next slide. All right, pop quiz here. So I just wanted to spend a moment and pause. We're about halfway through here. So I wanted to see if you thought about what is a product out here that you think is a good product that is not marketed well. And I thought we could use some of the criteria and pieces that we've been talking through and see if you can come up with some ways that it might have done better or maybe why it didn't succeed. So if you can go into the chat, if anybody thinks of a product that you would like to talk through here. All right, well, that's okay. I thought that we could start out with a product. I think we're a couple of slides ahead here. If we can keep moving here, it's the one with a coffee pot on here. So one example that I thought was an interesting topic that we could all discuss today is Tassimo coffee. So have any of you heard of Tassimo coffee? So we're on slide. Yep. Right slide, perfect. We can go back one slide. So Tassimo coffee is a product that, oh, here we go. We have someone that has one. Keith has one. So Tassimo coffee is similar to a Keurig machine. But it has a lot more capabilities. Something that is, you look at it in this picture here, it does have a similar shape though to Keurig. And was available when it first came out at a similar price point. So Keith's all saying, and a Keurig and an espresso. All right, I'm glad we had a coffee example here. I'm a big fan of coffee. I do have a Keurig, an espresso, and a regular coffee pot too. So glad we have fans. Hopefully everybody's having some cold brews as well out there in this hot weather that we're having this summer. But I wanted to talk through Tassimo because I thought this was a good example where they are both single-use coffee pod makers. And they both Tassimo launched around 2004. Keurig did similar time frame. Both were available in different varieties of channels, but they were both fairly widely available, similar price point. So it seemed like somewhat of a similar comparison. So why have we heard so much more about Keurig today versus Tassimo and some of the other products? So it seems like there might have been fair competition when they first started, but one thing to note is that Tassimo coffee machines actually are a lot better in terms of the capabilities and features and functions that they have to offer. So you can see in this picture here, each of the pods had a barcode that talked about how the coffee needed to be specifically brewed. So there were things like if you had an espresso, this is how it needs to be brewed, versus if you had a cappuccino, you could brew it a different way as well. So it's very high quality coffee. There were things like temperature control, quality control. So a very nice high-end type of coffee. However, things that challenges, we've seen that Keurig has been the one who has won out in this. I think as we think about products and we think about how it could have been brought to market, I think here are some questions that I had up here that we can think about as a product like this came to market. Why did Keurig win over it? Why did it not win as well? So, some things to consider are, was it the right product market fit? If we think about Keurig and Tassimo, it seemed like they both had similar capabilities, but what was the right go-to-market strategy and positioning here? I think one of the challenges is Tassimo probably had a really great strategy put together, but knowing that they're putting side by side with Keurig, that's a very big challenge here to think about. If people are looking at you side by side, there's going to be challenges in winning out share of voice, share of wallet, and overall market share in this space. I think part of it is if they're at the same price and they're sitting side by side, it might be hard to understand some of the great capabilities that Tassimo has. And arguably, it's probably maybe even a better product than Keurig. But a couple of things that have come out is we've seen that if you think about the different channels that they activate across. Oh, I think Keith is starting to pick up on some of these areas here too. So some of the channels that have been coming out, think about where they were sold. So they were originally sold at some similar places, but now you see Keurig everywhere, and Tassimo is only available at select places. I'd argue to say Nespresso is in this same space as well, but Nespresso was able to move and fit the right product market fit of a more higher end coffee product focused very specifically on espresso and espresso drinks. They are at a higher price point and they are fitting in that market. But we have seen Keurig come out as this key leader here because they found a really great niche in terms of product market fit and applying themselves across the best channels. So they're very widespread, mainstream. They've been able to partner with a lot of the right products. So Keith here mentioned Starbucks. There's a lot of different products. If you go down the coffee aisle, you'll see so many different products have their ground coffee in a bag or Keurig options here. So you don't see Tassimo in the grocery stores. You don't see them in these markets. And what we've seen is how it's come out to play is that Keurig has been the clear winner here. So I think part of as you're thinking about product market fit is think about all of the different ways that your competitors are acting, their price points, what their strategy is, but also the way that you position yourselves in the channels that you're activating across. I'd argue to say that all of these have needed to iterate over time, and we've seen Keurig start to make these key partnerships and come to life and be available on more and more channels. So that's just one example. I wanted to call out here. There's a lot of different ones. This one's a physical example. I was thinking this could be easier to walk through and think conceptually about product marketing. But this is a very key moment in terms of digital products as well, or specifically SaaS products. There's a lot of products available out there. So make sure you find the right product market fit, all the way down from what's the go-to-market, who are your core customers, and then all of the different ways that you activate. You could have the best product in the world, but if you don't find the fit for your customer or demonstrate that, then you're not going to succeed. All right, so we can go over to the next slide. All right, one key thing that I wanted to make sure to note here is who do product marketers work with? So you've learned a little bit about what product marketing does. So now moving into who do they work with, and then how could you envision yourself if you join a product marketing team interacting with other teams? All right, so product marketing, I'd say, sits at the center of many different cross-functional groups. This is a build, so you can go ahead and click. So marketing, marketing here is a key one. Product marketing often sits within marketing, functions very closely to marketing, and then also works very closely with product. What I like to say product marketing is often a hub for all of the different marketing spokes. So product marketing is not necessarily doing every single piece of the go-to-market, especially when it comes to activation. But product marketing is the hub, the expert on what that product is and how it needs to be brought to market, and then works with different areas of marketing to be able to bring that to life. Then the product team, product is often a hub that then works with engineering and teams that be able to bring the product to life. So product marketing and product management are very closely tied together. Product marketing also works closely with sales. There's so many components, especially if you're bringing a new product to market or if there's an iteration, it's critical to have a relationship with sales. This could be more on the outbound side, so sales in terms of business development, bringing in new clients or bringing in new customers, but also on the customer success side too. So in the B2B space, working with clients and making sure that clients know the product or are using it or they're successful as well on their end. If you look up product marketing, a lot of times online, you might see only these three components, so marketing, product, and sales. I like to also view it as C-suite leadership as well. Sometimes product marketing even reports to C-suite leadership. So if you could click one more time. I wanted to make sure to show here, I can't quite see it, but it's saying that 62% of product marketers report directly to marketing. So most of product marketing sits within marketing. But then also some sit within product, depending on the organization. Sometimes if the organizations are smaller, they'll sit within product. And then in some organizations, product marketing reports directly to the C-suite and works with them in that capacity. So C-suite is also a very important stakeholder to be working with to make sure there's that alignment and that true fit in terms of everything from what is that product marketing go-to-market strategy all the way to implementation and driving results. So if we could click one more time. Great. So one question that I hear a lot and wanted to make sure to clarify is, all right, we've heard about product, we've heard about marketing, product marketing, how does it fit? What's the difference between product marketing and product management? So I think, the simplest terms here, a product manager is in charge of building the product. So they're working very closely with engineering to bring it to life. Having to prioritize what are the key features, elements, components to build the product. Product marketing is very heavily involved in the adoption of the product. So if we could click one more time, as you'll see here, there's a lot of overlap. So while the product marketer and product manager may be focusing on different areas of the product, they're both very strongly tied to the product and its success. So there's a lot of overlap here. In some organizations, product marketers and product managers also share the same goals. So when I worked for a startup, I had the same goals as my product manager partner, and it really helped us be able to clarify how we prioritized our work. So we share the same, if you're familiar with the OKR framework, it's objectives and key results. We share the same objectives and key results, and then we would separate out what the initiatives were that we worked on, but it really was able to help us get the clarity that we needed in terms of how we were able to prioritize what were the features, what was the way that we presented it, how we prioritized all of our work. So there's a lot of overlap between the two, but each are very powerful and each are very important to bring the product to life. So I'd say if you're in product marketing, your product manager partner are going to be very, very close partners. All right, so here's another couple of stats that I wanted to share with you from the Product Marketing Alliance. Again, this is coming from the state of product marketing, but this gives you another glance of how product marketers work very closely with many different teams. So no surprise here, you'll see that product marketers work very closely with product as well as marketing. And then it trickles into some of these other areas that we've mentioned, but a couple of things to call out here is customer success, so making sure that once customers on the B2B side have bought into a product, that they are successful. Sales enablement is also a key component. Sometimes sales enablement is something that is a separate team. Sometimes it sits within sales, and then sometimes it also sits within marketing or product marketing. So a lot of work that I do actually is sales enablement to be able to work with the sales team. We can hop to the next slide. All right, so the next section I wanted to talk about is what skills product marketers need. So you might be asking, you've started to learn about what are functions that product marketers do, who are the key partners that they're working with. And then now I wanted to go into a couple of examples of key skills that I felt like were helpful for product marketers to show you if you feel like you're the right fit for this role. All right, again, state of product marketing. So this is also a question, what are top skills needed? I'd say these are definitely on the soft skill side. When at the end of this, when we go through resources, I'll talk a little bit more about the hard skills or opportunities to be able to gain more specific experience in product marketing. But as defined by product marketers, these were key areas. You can see there were many different areas that they noted, but the one that has come out is the highest is strong communication, incredibly important. As you saw earlier, product marketers are working with a variety of different teams and different key contacts. So it's very important to be a strong communicator. I think that ties in terms of your one-to-one, your presentation, as well as being able to communicate verbally as well as written communication. I think one thing that I've seen that has helped being very successful in terms of, one, keeping everyone on the same page, but two, keeping all of the right people accountable and understanding of what their roles and responsibilities are for certain projects is that written communication side. Of course, the previous section that we went through, strong collaboration with coworkers, very important as well. I think that ties very closely between communication and collaboration. And then the third one that I wanted to call out here is problem solving. As I noted before, and as you'll see as well, there's not one perfect way to address product marketing. It's going to vary a lot by the organization, the market, the product, the adoption that you're seeing. So I think that that's something very important to have a strong problem-solving mindset. There's probably always going to be a variety of different tactics or approaches that you can have. So making sure that you stay strategic and that you're able to identify problems and be able to mitigate them is incredibly important as well. So we hop to the next slide. Yep. All right. So another thing that I wanted to call out here, you may have heard certain people are going on career paths of generalists versus specialists. This is something I think, especially in going through college or greater education, it's very important that this might start to come out, or you might not have thought about this yet. But generalists versus specialists, I'd say if we look at this diagram here, the first one here is the specialist. So this is having a depth of expertise on either a certain topic, a certain role, a certain function, and really having this, soup to nuts, every single component of this. And you can read it like the back of your hand. You know how to solve problems for this very, very strong depth of expertise in one specific subject matter area. So you are the subject matter expert for either the role that you're in or the key theme or topic that you're working on. On the other side, if we could go back to that slide. On the other side here, generalists are more having this breadth of knowledge. So this is something where you might not have the expertise in any one key area, but you have a breadth of knowledge across many. So this is more of this, I'd say, almost like general business management or general problem solving management, where you don't necessarily know how to solve the problem, but you might know the next steps to take, or you might know the next people to reach out to be able to solve that problem. So I'd say product marketing ties very closely with those who are interested in being generalists. Yes, you need to be the expert in your product in terms of how you're communicating it with the marketing team, with your customers, but there are always going to be people that know more about the product than you. The people building the product will inherently know more about the product. So what you need to have is this general business knowledge to be able to understand the market and what are the ways to be able to ensure adoption there. So I have here on the left side, this is a quote coming from Adobe, but the generalists with great storytelling skills can bring tremendous value to any organization. So this is, again, one of those key criteria from the state of product marketing. So having those key storytelling capabilities here will help with having this strategic mindset that's problem solving. All right, so another thing that I wanted to call out is if any of you are familiar with the book Radical Candor by Kim Scott, I think it's a great book to read in general for business knowledge, but it goes into talking about ways that you can have radical candor where you can confront and speak very directly with your coworkers, but at the same time, it's coming from the background of caring deeply. So confronting directly and caring deeply to be able to make sure that you are communicating in the right way and achieve success. So I'd recommend that book. But one of the concepts that is talked about in that is there's different types of people with different types of either career, interests, or ambitions. And they're the superstars and the rock stars. These are two types of people that it's critical, excuse me, it is critical to have both types of people within your organization and both types of people within teams. But the rock star is someone that is meant to be the rock and the foundation. And they are ones that are someone that's reliable and stable that you can lean in on. And they're not necessarily interested in new roles or additional responsibilities, but they're going to be those ones that they'll probably likely be specialists, ones that are very interested in having that expertise in their role, and that's what they want to work on. They don't necessarily want to expand their scope there. So one thing that I'd say about rock stars is they might be someone that is great at an organization to move up as an individual contributor within their subject matter role and have that expertise. And then on the other side, there's the superstars. So superstars are ones that in terms of the way that they view their career, they're always looking for that next big challenge. So they might be more ambitious, interested in growth, or interested in more cross-functional roles to get experience across the trajectory, and they tend to have steep career interests. So they might be moving around in different areas, constantly wanting to grow out of responsibility. So both of these types of personalities, both these types of interests in career growth are important, and they're very critical for developing different teams. You'll want a different ratio of superstars and rock stars depending on where you are in terms of the life cycle of your team. But superstars are ones that I would say this personality fits very nicely with product marketing because it is always going to be a new challenge that comes up. Always opportunities for growth because you're wanting to grow your product or you're wanting to get expertise. You launch one product, maybe you move on to the next big thing. So we can hop to the next slide. All right, so where can I learn more? I wanted to end talking about a couple of resources. If you have some resources that you would recommend too, please add them to the chat because there's always opportunities to learn more. But the top three that I'll call out today are, one is the Product Marketing Alliance. You've seen I've pulled many different resources from them. I think they do a great job of highlighting what are real world problems for product marketers, and they've created the type of community for people to have conversations about challenges and frameworks and ways that they've been able to overcome problems. So I'd say specifically this Slack community is a great one to join. People will sometimes comment there, hey, does anybody have a great framework for XYZ? And then a bunch of people comment in, or, hey, you know, I'm facing this problem. Is anybody else facing this? So some of it might be just trying to understand what your network is also facing. But then some of it is people are very willing and open to sharing frameworks and strategies that have worked for them. So I'd recommend that. There are certifications that you can get through that as well now. And of course, the podcast. Pragmatic Institute, that's that one that I showed you with that really large framework. They have a lot of classical skills that you can get, and that's another great certification that you can get in terms of understanding. They don't have one specifically on product marketing, but they'll have things on what are the foundations and diving deeper into one of those topics that they highlighted. The last one here that I wanted to call out is HubSpot. If you haven't gone to HubSpot, they have a lot of really great free resources. So they have certifications or they have short videos, classes, things like that that you can take, but they have ones on specific topics such as web growth or sales enablement or their inbound marketing approach. So I'd say HubSpot has a lot of great resources. And one thing that I wanted to call it is knowing that a lot of us are spending more time at home and looking for what are the right resources. There are many free resources available out there. So I would encourage you all to take advantage of that. Product Marketing Alliance and Pragmatic, those are paid resources. So I think those are great classical resources as well, but HubSpot has some free opportunities. If you haven't seen Google Digital Garage, they also have a free certification you can get. So I think now as you're looking at building out your skill set, I think one thing that's great to do is treat LinkedIn as an SEO opportunity. So optimize yourself and optimize how different companies can find you. So it's great to be able to add to your LinkedIn different types of certifications that you have gotten to show that you're building out your expertise. So whereas maybe you're not taking a specific class on this subject matter area, you can build out your expertise by getting these certifications and adding them to your LinkedIn. All right, so I know we have about 10 minutes left. That's all that I wanted to share today. Last thing, please keep in touch. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to hear more from you all. But wanted to see and close this out. Are there any questions that anyone has about the information that I've shared, or any topics that we reviewed or you'd like me to talk more about? I'll make sure that this presentation gets shared as well. And then if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to send it to you too.
You have one question for those who want to pursue a career in product marketing. So what kind of major would you recommend that students pursue in order to get this type of career?
Yeah, great question. I think that some universities already have tracks that are very clear. They can help you understand, all right, here's different things about product marketing that you can pursue, and some don't. I don't think that I had that when I was going to college. I think that product marketing, as well as product management, they're still fairly new fields that people come from many different areas. So that's a great question. I think, think about the skill sets if that seems like a right fit for you. I don't think there's one clear path. So that's nice that you can have some diverse expertise coming in. Some people I think it depends on the role that you're interested in as well. There's some product marketing jobs that are a little bit more technical. So some people come from that where they are maybe have an engineering background, or maybe have something that's a little bit more in the sciences background. That is focused on being able to understand all of the technical intricacies and be able to share that out. I'd say especially for digital products, incredibly important. Then there's some that maybe if you're working at a startup, you might be the only person that's a product marketer. So that's probably where this more holistic business understanding. So I'd say this is maybe more of a business major. Of course, marketing helps. If there's a product management track, that could help as well, looking into those key areas. But I'd say if you're in, we have a question here too, if you're in a different industry and you're trying to move into that space, it's not impossible. So I actually, a little bit more into my background, I started my career in the public sector. So I worked for the government for a handful of years. I went to get my MBA and then moved into an innovation role. So my role was not specifically called product marketing, but it was very close to that. So there might be roles that you can find at other organizations that aren't specifically labeled product marketing, but might have components of it. So things like customer experience or customer strategy, go-to-market. I also worked on an innovation team. So you're doing innovation work for products and you're in marketing, pretty close to product marketing. But if you're in another organization and you're interested in breaking into product marketing, I think any kind of roles or any kind of ways that you can demonstrate that you have contributed to growth is important. So having a growth mindset, having this problem solving mindset, but if you've been able to grow an initiative that you've been working on, or you've had a very creative idea to be able to expand that, I think that's something important. I think having the technical expert, or not the technical, but the strategic expertise as well. So the question that I asked you all before, what's a product that you think that's a good product that has not been brought to market well, that has not been marketed in a great way? That's an interview question that probably might come up. That's a key product marketing question. So I think showing that you have these different types of skills as well as the strategic vision. And then lastly, having an interest in both the customer and the product are important. So even if you're not in a heavy technical role, I'd say if you're sitting in marketing, this is one of the most technical expertise areas that you'll rely on in product marketing, to be able to have an understanding and an interest of the product, and then finding the right product market fit. Looks like we have another question. So as a product marketer, what do you expect from a product manager to be able to do to be a great team member? Oh, this is a great question here too. I think it varies by organization, the very specific functions that you work on. So what are the key tactics or day-to-day management? But I'd say overarching is you seeing each other as a partner and pulling in the right conversations at the right times. There's some projects that I work on with product managers where we are side by side working on things. And then there's some things that maybe we divide and conquer. But I think clear communication and understanding, one thing that I've appreciated in certain product marketing roles that I've been in, I met weekly with my product management partner, and it was just very helpful for us, especially as we were building a new product and at a startup, to be able to, we called it ruthlessly prioritize, because that's what happens. If you're limited on resources, you do have to prioritize. So there's something that's definitely a partnership, because he would be thinking certain technical requirements that would be needed or certain challenges, and we would go in and work on what were the key customer features or features that sales were interested in as well. So I'd say overarching theme, key partner.
Awesome. And then it looks like we have one more question. What is your most and least favorite part about PMM?
Great question. I think my most favorite part about product marketing is being able to grow something. So you're seeing something, it's almost like it's your baby. So you see something from inception all the way to coming to life and then growing it. So I like being able to take on challenges. I like to say that I like navigating complex problems. So give me puzzles. I love to pull them apart and put them in a way that makes sense. So I like navigating ambiguity, and I really enjoy being able to grow and continue to move forward, and at the same time challenge myself. I think some of the hardest parts of being a product marketer are things are always changing. So some of that is hard when you're working with other teams that are dependent upon you, or that need longer cycles to plan out things, or that are more stable roles in terms of the types of work and function that they do. And it's a very challenging where they need certain things from you and you might not be able to deliver them. So they might need, hey, I need these XYZ assets in this time frame, and the product is still being built. And so you don't have the time or ability or knowledge even to be able to deliver that. So that requires a lot of this communication and building a relationship of trust. I think if you can trust the teams that you're working with and understand, here's where we're at, we know where we need to be, let's work to fill in the gaps to the best of our capabilities. That's where you find that sweet spot, but it can be very challenging. So some of that where you don't want to feel like you're delivering bad news or disappointing people, but sometimes you're not able to fit within the structures that some of the other teams must be in.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Allison. We really really appreciate your time, and apologies for the technical difficulties earlier. But as she said, this slideshow will be sent out to all of you. Again, thank you to Epsilon. Allison, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to everyone who attended. And then for next week, we do have Salesforce and Airbnb who are coming to do sessions. So you'll be able to get those registration links in your email soon. So thank you everyone so much for attending, and have a good rest of your day. Thanks again, Allison.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye.